Good evening, and thank you for all coming to this year's dinner. My name is Dani. For the first 17 years of my life, I was your typical average kid. My life revolved around family, school, friends, and sports. I was always very active and was the captain of my school's hockey team. Little did I know that for my 17th birthday, God was going to throw me the curveball of my life. At a time when most 17-year-olds hope for and wish for a new car, I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. The soreness in my arm started in the beginning of the 11th grade. My parents and I assumed that the pain was sports-related, so we didn't make much of it. As time went on, the pain worsened. However, we couldn't imagine this would turn out to be life-threatening. We were frozen with the fear when we heard the word cancer. Truthfully, I thought it didn't make sense. I couldn't have cancer. I couldn't be that kid. Cancer was an abstract idea. Everyone hears stories about cancer, but I couldn't imagine it would happen to me. After my first round of chemotherapy, I got sick, really sick. I was weak, nauseous, and I lost my hair. The low point of my first bout with the after effects of my first chemotherapy treatment was that my mother and I wound up in the hospital for both Passover Siddurim. That was when it hit me, when it finally sunk in. I was now that kid everybody whispered about. I was the kid suddenly in everyone's prayers. Now, instead of going to school, I was going for chemotherapy. And instead of making summer plans, I was scheduling radiation treatments. For me, the worst part was that I felt so isolated. No one understood what I was going through. Sure, my parents were doing everything humanly possible, and I had tons of friends, but no one could possibly appreciate the hell that had become my life. Immediately after I was diagnosed, Lifeline came charging into our lives. They assisted my parents in identifying the right doctor and the best hospital. Soon afterward, Ari Demitzer and his minions started to recruit me for Camp Simcha. They came to the hospital daily and told me about helicopter rides and showed me videos of camp. I wasn't interested. To me, camp was full of sports. If I couldn't play hockey with my friends, I wasn't going. I kept asking them to leave me alone. I wasn't fascinated by the idea of 2 weeks of singing and dancing. When the summer finally arrived, my doctor, Dr. Lenny Wexler, also urged me to participate. Dr. Wexler, one of the doctors at Camp Simcha, knew what camp could do for me and my spirit. I was unmoved. Finally, he impressed upon me to come just for one Shabbos. Thank you, Dr. Wexler, for convincing me to go to Camp Simcha. Or I don't know where you are. I'm supposed to look at you. There's no place in this world I could compare to Camp Simcha. When you watch the camp videos, you see kids going wild, dancing in the dining room, waving from the backs of motorcycles, and flying in helicopters. What these videos can show you is the spirit that makes Camp Simcha so unique, a haven for every child with cancer or special diseases. For the first time since my diagnosis, I was living in a bunk with kids my own age who understood what I was going through. They felt the pain and fear. They understood exactly how life had changed and how it can never be the same again. These kids hadn't gone to school with me. They weren't at my bar mitzvah, but they knew me, and I knew them, in a way that none of my friends at home ever could. My first night in camp was life-altering. I had only been there for a few hours. While lying in bed, one of the boys called out to me, "Hey Ross, what are you in for?" I was absolutely shocked. I thought to myself, did he actually ask me what I think he just asked me? I built up my courage and screamed back across the room, "Ewing sarcoma." He said, "Ewing's what?" And that was the defining moment when it all started, and I suddenly had a new best friend. We all sat up for hours talking about the deepest, most private details of our individual cancers. We spoke about things and expressed feelings we weren't able to speak about ever before. We had only known each other for a few hours, but we all felt such a strong bond with one another. Kids who spend most of their days and nights in the hospital receiving chemotherapy and radiation treatments aren't very happy. They rarely smile and don't have much hope. However, Camp Simcha brings out a different side of them. The kids allow themselves to drop their guard. The singing, dancing, and laughter not only contagious, but also therapeutic. Deep dimpled smiles are everywhere you look. This is the magic of Camp Simcha. You never really leave Camp Simcha. At the end of the summer, I had 50 new friends. The counselors and the volunteers, who deserve all the credit they get, continued to stay part of my life. Calling, visiting me in the hospital, pulling my entire family into the Chai Lifeline family. Chai Lifeline offered us so much. The trip to Disney was a blast. When I was younger, I went with my family, and I hated waiting on those long lines. With Chai Lifeline, we were all treated as VIPs, and I cut to the front of the lines and zipped right in. Volunteers took my brother to Ranger games and eased some of the isolation that he was feeling as everything focused on me. Chai Lifeline's programs gave my parents a chance to share their experiences with other parents whose children were sick. While my parents showered me with love, and they remained to be my most vital support, it was Chai Lifeline that taught me how to live again. Cancer changes you in ways that you would never anticipate. Your friends, the people who have known you your whole life, are suddenly awkward and nervous around you. They admit they don't know what to say or how to act. I'll never play hockey again. I've already come to terms with that, and many other consequences associated with my battle. Nevertheless, through my experience at Camp Simcha, I have learned how to rise to this challenge. Now, when Chai Lifeline hears of a teenager diagnosed with cancer, Esther Schwartz or Ari Demitzer will sometimes ask me to visit. When I talk to these kids, I always tell them about Camp Simcha and urge them to go. I tell them that even though they are sick right now, I'm a proof that Camp Simcha has the power to change lives. I'm the person I am today because of my wonderful family, Dr. Wexler, Chai Lifeline, and all of you. Thank you all for supporting Chai Lifeline and giving it the ability to run Camp Simcha every year. You have done more good than you can ever know. On behalf of all of the campers at Camp Simcha and Camp Simcha Special, we are truly grateful. Thank you.
One picture at the podium. One picture at the podium. Come on.